Hey everyone, welcome to another spine-tingling dive into the shadows of mythology. Tonight, we're plunging into a realm that's anything but cozy. Picture ancient forests where the wind carries curses on its breath, towering citadels under storm-laden skies, and the tales you thought you knew revealed as nightmares cloaked in glittering illusions. Forget the sweet princesses and fairy tale endings peddled by animated movies. The originals weren't bedtime stories to soothe your soul. They were razor-sharp warnings, shared around flickering hearts to teach survival in a world teeming with monsters, both seen and unseen. Before we embark on this eerie adventure, take a quick second to hit that like button if you're already feeling the chills, and subscribe for more deep dives into dark lore. Drop a comment below. Where are you tuning in from, and what's the time there? I love hearing from fellow night owls who dare to explore the unknown with me. Now, settle in somewhere comfy, dim the lights, and let your imagination drift. Breathe deep, close your eyes, and envision a child's bedroom bathed in the soft glow of a lantern. A little one tucked under warm blankets, their face beaming with innocent trust. Nearby, a parent sits, voice like a gentle stream, reading from a lavishly illustrated tome. The pages are thick and glossy, bursting with vibrant hues. Peer closer into that painted world. It's a realm of boundless kindness, a princess whose only flaw is her own tender heart. Her sorrow is fleeting and poetic, shown through a single flawless tear. Her song is so enchanting that forest creatures flock to her, birds weaving ribbons in her hair, friendly squirrels tailoring her gowns. Her troubles, though seeming dire, are straightforward and external. A misplaced crystal slipper, a wicked yet bumbling stepmother, a slumber broken by a mere kiss. She's not a real person, she's an ideal, a passive figure awaiting her destiny. Then there's the prince. He's no character, just the fix, arriving on a gleaming steed as if fate decreed it. His heroism is effortless, charming, handsome, brave for one dramatic moment. He slays a dragon that's more annoyance than threat, slices through brambles with a heroic swing. Even the villains are reassuringly simplistic. The evil queen driven by cartoonish vanity, the woodland witch a comical hag easily tricked by clever kids. Their wickedness carries no real gravity, no enduring scar. They're mere hurdles on the road to inevitable victory, defeated utterly and vanishing like mist. This is the vow of modern fairy tales. Forests enchanted, not terrifying, every dilemma solved by whimsical magic, endings always happily ever after. It's a nursery whisper, guaranteeing all pain is temporary, good triumphs eternally. But this is a fabrication, a soothing myth to shield from horrors too grim to face. These stories have been sanitized, their ink faded across generations, blood and tears erased until only a hollow echo remains. To uncover the truth, we must abandon the warm bedroom and journey back to an era of unrelenting shadow. Imagine not a soft bed, but a heap of filthy straw in a single-room hovel shared with livestock. Not a full stomach, but the relentless gnaw of famine from ruined crops, meals mere watery gruel from barley. This was a world drenched in dread. The dense woods bordering the village weren't playgrounds for friendly beasts, but lairs for real wolves and bandits. Authority wasn't a benevolent king in a far-off palace, but a ruthless baron demanding toil, provisions, even lives on a whim. The world was confined, dim, steeped in superstition. Hexes, sorcery, malevolent spirits lurking just beyond the fire's glow. Folks didn't spin yarns to comfort kids, they armed them. These weren't lullabies, they were alerts, harsh life lessons handed down. Survival manuals for a realm where trusting strangers meant death, vanity and greed invited gruesome penalties, and a line between life and starvation was razor thin. Stay on the path wasn't mild advice, it was a plea against being devoured by wolves. Don't take food from strangers wasn't etiquette, it warned of being fattened for slaughter. Punishments weren't tidy. Elara's stepsisters paid with flesh, not embarrassment. Stepmother Vesper wasn't just narcissistic, she was a cannibalistic fiend ending in torment. And young lovers like Liora faced not weddings, but maiming and exile. Tonight, we'll crack open that dusty grimoire. We won't follow one hero, but unearth the raw, twisted roots of three tales you only think you know. Our first is perhaps the most iconic, a blueprint for fairy tale bliss. It's the story of Elara. Let's summon the version we cherished, polished by time and cinema. It's a tender tale at core, a kind, lovely girl mistreated unjustly, her woe picturesque and brief. Solutions come via playful, almost comical sorcery.
A fairy godmother materializes in starbursts, a jolly matron waving her wand with silly chants, turning ordinary to extraordinary. A gourd into a gilded coach, rodents into stately horses, tatters into a gown of iridescent splendor. Magic here is delightful benevolence, rewarding virtue. Elara's victory is pristine. She forgives her tormentors swiftly, her ever-after absolute. A flawless, comforting reverie. Now let that dream fade. Let the twinkling fade to stark, chilling gray. For the tale ahead isn't a dream. It's a nightmare anchored in a mother's tomb. Our story opens not with a wish, but demise. A prosperous merchant's wife lies dying. Autumn winds howl, her vitality waning with the light. She summons her sole daughter, a girl whose heart shines amid impending cruelty. "Dear one," she whispers, voice frail as autumn leaves, "stay devout and pure. The spirits will guard you. I'll watch from the beyond." With that, her eyes closed, casting the first pall over the girl's existence. The girl grieves piously, visiting her mother's grave daily, tears nourishing the chill soil. But vows offer scant shield from the living's malice. Seasons shift, winter yields to spring, bringing a new wife for her father. Eager to bury his grief, he welcomes her, and her 2 daughters. Fair-faced, finely clad, but hearts as cold as obsidian. They behold the girl in her finery and gentleness, seeing a target to shatter. "Why does this fool lounge with us?" they sneer. "Earn your keep, to the scullery." They tear her dresses, force her into a drab smock and clunky clogs. Laughing, they banish her to the galley, a domain of grease, soot, ceaseless drudgery. Her torment is swift and total. She labors from dawn to dusk, rising pre-light to fetch water, kindle fires. She cooks, scrubs for them, and at day's end, no bed, only ashes by the hearth, warm yet filthy. Always cloths grimy, face smeared, they rename her Elara, the Ash Maiden. No godmother here, only a mother's echo and a sacred willow. When father journeys to market, he asks the steps what they desire, gowns, gems. For Elara, "Father, the first branch brushing your hat homeward." A willow twig touches, he brings it. Elara plants it at the grave, watering with bare tears. It roots, grows into a majestic willow. Thrice daily she weeps and prays beneath. A white dove perches, granting wishes tossed down. This is her enchantment, not sparkly wand work, but somber magic from sorrow, death nurtured. Elara's routine, grinding toil. Her once loving world shrinks to soot-stained walls. Father, her supposed guardian, goes through his home, witnessing her degradation yet silent. Weak, fearful, or preferring to forget his past's remnant. His quiet betrayal affirms her utter isolation. Days blur in grueling tasks. She kneels blowing embers, face stinging from soot till flames catch. Hauls buckets, arms aching, water numbing feet. Scrubs floors till knees bleed, washes in harsh lye, hands cracked. Cooks feasts smelling divine, while she gets crusts. Invisible, yet her work omnipresent. Spotless floors, pristine linens, perfect meals. Flaws met with barbs, laughter, hurled objects. Stepsisters invent miseries, dump peas into ashes, order sorting, one by one tedium to enforce powerlessness, fingers numb as they lounge, mocking. They taunt her looks, tug her smock, regale with gala tales while she huddles. Solace, grave visits, under the willow, her inheritance. Kneeling, she weeps from crushing solitude. As tears fall, birds arrive, white dove, turtle doves, pigeons. They heed her woes, heads tilted, eyes wise. When peas dumped, she calls softly. Tame doves, gentle pigeons, birds of heaven, aid me sort good to pot, bad to crop. They swarm, bobbing heads, sorting diligently. Her magic, earthly, from nature's overlooked. Loyal birds, steadfast tree. No grand spells, quiet endurance aid. A fragile bulwark against cruelty's tide. A hidden hope amid her life's embers. Years pass in gray monotony, broken by willows green and wings flutter. But realms evolve. A royal edict echoes. Grand gala, 3 days, prince seeks bride. Stepsisters electrified, lives of idle spite now frantic ambition. House becomes ambition's stage. Elara, the weary crew. She brushes hair to sheen, laces corsets breathlessly, polishes shoes mirroring her weary face. Endures their gripes, giddy prince chatter. Work done, stepsisters like cruel peacocks. Elara summons courage. May I attend? Stepmother appraises soot, grime, fatigue. Sneers. You, ash wretch, filthy for festivities? Elara pleads. Mother, cruelly inspired, dumps lentils and ashes. Sort in 2 hours, join us. Impossible jest to crush hope. Elara, teary, calls birds. They finish early. Hope flares, she presents. Mother shocked, malice deep. No gown, no dance. Elara weeps, mother dumps double lentils, 1 hour. Birds aid again, but final, useless, you'd shame us. They depart, leaving Elara in echoing silence, hope pulverized. Carriage fades, house heavy. Elara sobs by hearth, body racked, all lost. Festival dances, she remains ashbound. Tears spent, resolve forms. She seeks solace at grave, under whispering willow. Breeze rustles like comfort, pleads, shiver and sway, dear tree, silver and gold upon me. Magic stirs, dove drops gown woven from moonlight, silk embroidered slippers. Elara cleanses, dawns, becomes radiant stranger. Hurries to gala, hush falls. Steps think foreign royalty. Prince captivated, declares, my partner. They whirl hours in candlelight. Others ask, he insists. Elara, unaccustomed to adoration, dreams awake. Forgets ashes, but knows illusion's limit. Slips away. Prince pursues, but she evades. Back, under willow, shiver and sway, reclaim the finery. Dove takes gown, Elara resumes smock, lies in ashes. Family returns, buzzing of mystery princess. Prince dance solely with her. They glance at Elara, see only drudge. Day 2, gown sunspun, gold slippers. Greater awe, prince obsessed. She flees again. Day 3, star-stitched gown, glass slippers. Court speechless, prince trapped stairs with tar. She loses left slipper, escapes. Prince vows, she who fits this shall wed me. Quest launches. At Elara's
We leave the ashes of Elara's hearth behind and journey deeper into the shadowed heart of the Old Kingdom. Our next tale carries us to a grand stone citadel perched on jagged cliffs, where the sea wind howls like mourning spirits and the corridors echo with secrets. This is the story of Seraphine, the one we remember as a gentle songbird surrounded by cheerful miners and woodland friends, awakened by the pure magic of a single kiss. A tale of innocence protected, jealousy overcome, love triumphant. A beautiful, reassuring lullaby. But the original is no lullaby. It is a chilling chronicle of obsessive, murderous vanity, a descent into madness that ends not in romance, but in prolonged, screaming agony. Let us first recall the sweetened version. It begins with a queen's wish on a winter's day, 3 drops of blood on snow, and a child born as white as snow, as red as blood, as black as ebony. The mother dies. A new queen arrives, beautiful but vain. A magic mirror confirms her as the fairest. Seraphine grows, surpasses her in beauty, and the queen's envy erupts. She orders a huntsman to kill the girl and bring back proof. He spares her. She finds refuge in a cozy cottage with 7 kindly dwarves who sing and whistle while they work. The queen, disguised 3 times, nearly succeeds in killing her, first with enchanted laces, then a poisoned comb, finally a poisoned apple. Seraphine falls into death-like sleep. A prince's kiss revives her. The queen is punished mildly, and love conquers all. Now let that gentle glow fade. Let the colors drain away, until only cold stone and crimson remain. The true story begins in midwinter, inside a towering obsidian-framed window overlooking a frozen landscape. A queen sits sewing, her needle glinting. She pricks her finger. 3 drops of blood fall onto the pure white snow below. The sight stirs a fierce longing. If only I had a child as white as snow, as red as blood, as black as the ebony frame, she whispers. Soon after, she bears a daughter, skin snow white, lips blood red, hair ebony black. They name her Seraphine, but joy is brief. The queen dies in childbirth. A year passes. The king weds again. The new queen is breathtakingly beautiful, but proud beyond measure. Her worth is measured only by her reflection. She owns a cursed obsidian mirror, forged in forgotten rites. Each morning she stands before it and asks, "Mirror of shadow, mirror of night, who in this realm bears the fairest light?" For years the mirror answers, "You, my queen, are the fairest in sight." This daily ritual is her anchor, her religion. Her beauty is not a gift, it is her identity, her power, her everything. But Seraphine grows. With every season her beauty deepens, effortless, wild, radiant like moonlight on untouched snow. One fateful morning, the queen poses her question, expecting the usual praise. The mirror's voice is cold and clear. "You, my queen, are fair, it is true, yet Seraphine is 1,000 times fairer than you." The words strike like a blade. The queen's face twists in horror, then rage. From that moment, her heart turns to venom. The sight of the girl becomes unbearable torment. Envy festers like a wound that will not heal. She paces her chambers at night, unable to eat or sleep, haunted by the mirror's verdict. There is not room in her world for 2 beauties. One must be extinguished. She summons her most trusted huntsman, a weathered man loyal to the crown. In the throne room, beneath flickering torchlight, she delivers her command, voice low and steady. "Take the child deep into the wildwood. Kill her. Bring me her lungs and livers as proof." The huntsman feels ice in his veins, but obedience is bred into him. He leads 7-year-old Seraphine into the forest, deeper and deeper,
until sunlight barely pierces the canopy. The girl skips beside him, chasing moths, trusting completely. When they reach a shadowed glade, he draws his knife. But as the blade rises, and he looks into her innocent eyes, his arm falters. He cannot strike. "Run, child," he whispers, voice breaking. "Run and never return. The beasts will be kinder than the queen." Seraphine, seeing the knife tremble, finally understands. Terror seizes her. She bolts into the undergrowth, thorns tearing her dress, stones cutting her feet. She runs until her lungs burn and darkness falls. Wolves howl in the distance, bears lumber past, yet none harm her, as if even the wild things pity her. The huntsman, left alone, must still return with proof. A young boar crashes through the brush. He kills it swiftly, removes the warm lungs and livers, wraps them in cloth. At the citadel, he presents them to the queen. She believes. That night, she orders the royal cook to prepare them with salt and herbs. Then, in the privacy of her chamber, she eats them, slowly, deliberately, believing she is consuming Seraphine's beauty, absorbing her rival's essence through this ritual of cannibalism, a grotesque sacrament to reclaim her throne of vanity. Satisfied, she returns to her mirror, certain of victory. Mirror of shadow, mirror of night, who in this realm bears the fairest light? The mirror replies unchanged. You, my queen, are fair, it is true. Yet Seraphine lives beyond the 7 hills with the 7 miners, and she is still 1,000 times fairer than you. The queen's triumph shatters. She screams, a sound that echoes through the stone halls like a banshee's wail. She has been deceived. The girl lives. Her rage becomes a living thing, a black fire consuming reason. Meanwhile, Seraphine stumbles through the endless forest until, near collapse, she spots a small stone cottage nestled in a clearing. The door is unlatched. Inside, a low table set with 7 small plates, 7 cups, 7 loaves. Against the wall, 7 narrow beds. Exhausted and starving, she eats a morsel from each plate, drinks a sip from each cup, taking care not to deplete anyone. She tries the beds until the 7th fits perfectly. She curls up and falls into deep, dreamless sleep. At dusk, the cottage owners return. 7 grizzled miners, faces blackened from digging deep veins of ore in the mountains. They light 7 lanterns and discover the intrusion. Chairs moved, food touched, and finally, the 7th bed occupied by a breathtaking girl. They gather around, rough voices hushed in awe. What a wondrous child! They do not wake her. The miner whose bed she took shares the others hour by hour through the night. Morning comes. Seraphine awakens to 7 stern but kind faces. Terrified at first, she pours out her story. The cruel stepmother, the huntsman, the endless flight. The miners exchange grave looks. They offer a bargain, not charity but practical alliance. Stay with us. Keep our house. Cook, clean, mend. In return, you shall want for nothing. Seraphine accepts gratefully. A fragile sanctuary forms. Each dawn, the miners descend into the earth. Each evening, they return. Before leaving, they warn her solemnly. Beware your stepmother. She will learn you live. Let no one inside while we are gone. Seraphine promises. Back at the citadel, the queen's madness sharpens. She retreats to a hidden chamber filled with forbidden tones and alchemical tools. There she crafts her weapons, disguises and poisons born of dark sorcery. First attempt. She stains her skin, dons ragged peddler's clothes, hunches her back until unrecognizable. She carries brightly colored bodice laces woven with an enchanted suffocation. Crossing the 7 hills, she reaches the cottage and calls in a cracked voice. Fine laces for sale, pretty ribbons. Seraphine, lonely after weeks of isolation, peers out. The laces shimmer temptingly. Against the warning, she opens the door. The disguised queen laces her bodice with ferocious speed and strength, pulling until breath is crushed from Seraphine's lungs. The girl collapses, lifeless. The queen hisses, "Now I am fairest," and flees. Evening falls. The miners return, find Seraphine blue-faced on the floor. They cut the laces. Air rushes in. She revives. They scold her gently but firmly. That was the queen. Never open the door again. Seraphine, shaken, swears obedience. The queen, certain of success, consults her mirror and hears the same devastating truth. Fury erupts anew. She returns to her secret chamber. Second attempt. A poisoned comb, exquisite and irresistible, its teeth coated with venom that brings instant death like coma. New disguise, an old trinket seller. Again she crosses the hills. Seraphine, tempted by the comb's beauty, allows the woman to arrange her hair properly. The teeth graze her scalp. She falls. Miners return, find the comb, remove it. Seraphine breathes again. Sterner warning. No one, not a soul. Third and final attempt. The queen crafts her masterpiece, an apple, one half snow white and wholesome, the other flushed crimson and laced with irreversible poison. Disguised as a humble orchard wife, she approaches. Seraphine, wary, refuses entry. I dare take nothing. The queen smiles innocently. Afraid of poison? Watch, I'll eat the safe half. She bites the white side. Seraphine, reassured, accepts the red half. One bite, and she falls dead. This time, no revival. The miners return to true death. They weep 3 days, unwilling to bury such beauty in dark earth. They commission a transparent crystal coffin, place her within, and set it atop a lonely hill. One miner always keeps vigil. Animals come to mourn. Owl, raven, dove. Years pass. Seraphine lies unchanged, cheeks still rosy as if merely sleeping. One day, a young prince, traveling through the wilds, seeks shelter at the miner's cottage. Next morning, he sees the crystal coffin on the hill. He reads the golden inscription, Seraphine, daughter of a king. He is not moved by sorrow. He is possessed. Her beauty, preserved in death, obsesses him. He begs the miners, sell me the coffin, name any price. They refuse gold. He pleads, give it to me. I cannot live without gazing upon her. I will honor her forever. The miners, touched by their fervor, relent. Servants carry the heavy coffin. On the rough path, one stumbles. The jolt dislodges the poisoned apple shard lodged in Seraphine's throat. It falls from her mouth. She gasps, opens her eyes, lifts the lid. Where am I? The prince, overjoyed, declares undying love and proposes instantly. Seraphine, bewildered yet alive, consents. A lavish wedding is planned. The wicked queen is invited. Protocol demands it. She stands before her mirror in finest gown. Mirror of shadow, mirror of night, who in this realm bears the fairest light? The mirror answers, you, my queen, are fair, it is true. But the young bride is 1,000 times fairer than you. Terror and rage paralyze her.
We step away from the blood-soaked wedding hall of Seraphine and venture even farther from the courts and citadels into the wild fringes of the old world. Here, on the edge of a vast, whispering forest that no map dares to name, stands a solitary stone tower. Tall, windowless save for one tiny opening near the very top, and without a single door. This is the story of Liora, the girl with hair like molten gold, imprisoned high above the earth. In the version we were told as children, it is a simple romance, a lonely maiden trapped by a jealous witch, rescued by a brave prince who climbs her endless tresses, and together they ride off into the sunset. But the original is no romance. It is a tragedy of appetite, reckless bargains, forbidden desire, and the terrible price paid by the innocent. It is a warning that a single moment of weakness can echo through generations, scarring lives forever. Let us first summon the softened tale we know. A young woman longs for a forbidden green called rampion growing in an enchantress's garden. Her husband steals it to satisfy her craving. The witch catches him, demands the unborn child as payment. The girl is taken at birth, raised by the witch, and when she reaches womanhood, locked in a doorless tower. Her only visitor is the witch, who climbs her impossibly long hair. One day, a prince hears her singing, learns the secret call, climbs up, falls in love, and plans escape. The witch discovers them, cuts the hair, banishes the girl, and blinds the prince with thorns. After years of wandering and suffering, they reunite. Her tears restore his sight, and they live happily with their children. A touching story of love conquering all. Now, let the colors mute, the music fall silent. What remains is far darker. The tale begins not with a tower, but with hunger, sharp, gnawing, impossible to ignore. A humble couple live in a small cottage beside the endless forest. For years they have prayed for a child, but the cradle remains empty. At last, the wife feels life stirring within her. Joy fills their home, fragile and bright. Yet pregnancy brings a strange, overwhelming craving. From their back window, she can see into a forbidden garden enclosed by a high stone wall, an enchantress's domain, feared by the entire village. No one has ever entered and returned unchanged. In that garden grows a plant with delicate peppery leaves called rampion. The sight of it consumes the wife. Day and night she dreams of its taste. She refuses other food, grows pale, wastes away. Her husband watches in terror as both wife and unborn child fade.
One evening he asks, voice trembling, "What ails you, my love?" "If I do not taste the rampion from that garden," she whispers, tears streaming, "I will die, and our child with me." The man loves her more than his own life. Fear of the enchantress battles fear of losing his family. At twilight, heart pounding, he scales the wall. Hands shaking, he tears up a handful of the greens and flees back to his wife. She devours them with desperate hunger. The craving does not lessen, it triples. 2 nights later, driven by her pleading eyes, he returns. He gathers more, but as he turns to leave, a shadow detaches from the darkness. The enchantress, tall, cloaked in midnight, eyes like burning coals, stands before him. "How dare you steal from my garden like a common thief?" Her voice is low, ancient, terrible. The man falls to his knees, babbling excuses. He speaks of his wife's pregnancy, her deadly longing. The enchantress listens in silence. Then a slow, calculating smile spreads across her face. "I will permit you to take as much rampion as you wish," she says, "on one condition. The child your wife carries, you will give it to me the moment it is born. It will be well cared for. I will raise it as my own." In his panic, the man agrees to everything. He thinks only of the immediate danger, not the future horror. He brings the greens home, his wife eats and recovers. Months later, a daughter is born, beautiful beyond words, with hair already gleaming like sunlight on gold. The instant the child draws breath, the enchantress appears in the cottage. She names the girl Liora, after the plant that cost her parents everything, and vanishes with her into the night. The cottage falls silent forever. The parents are left with nothing but the bitter aftertaste of stolen leaves. The enchantress raises Liora in a secluded glade deep within the forest. For 12 years, the girl knows only the witch's stern face and the high walls of their hidden home. She is taught to sing, to weave, to tend herbs. She is clothed and fed, but never allowed beyond the garden. No other children, no village, no knowledge of the world of men. The enchantress's care is possessive, suffocating. Liora grows into breathtaking beauty, innocent and untouched. When Liora turns 12, the enchantress's paranoia blooms. The girl's radiance draws too much attention. Even birds linger longer. Deer approach closer. The witch decides the world must never see her treasure. Using dark arts, she transports Liora to a remote part of the endless forest and erects a tower of smooth black stone. Impossibly tall, no door, no stairs, only one small window near the summit. Liora is left inside, alone. The witch visits daily, standing at the base and calling in a voice like cracking ice. "Liora, Liora, let down your golden hair." For Liora's hair has never been cut. It cascades like a river of molten gold, strong as silk rope. She winds it around a hook at the window and lowers it. The witch climbs, enters, stays a few hours, then descends the same way. This becomes Liora's entire existence, a circular stone room high above the treetops, sky and distant forest her only view. Seasons marked by changing leaves far below. No books, no companions. Her voice, clear, heartbreakingly beautiful, becomes her only release. She sings to the empty air, songs of unspoken longing she cannot name. The melody drifts down through the forest, a siren call of pure sorrow. And one day it reaches a listener. A young prince, weary of court intrigue and arranged marriages, often rides alone into the wild forest for solace. One evening, nearing the hidden tower, he hears singing that stops his heart. The voice is unlike any palace minstrel, raw, filled with a loneliness that mirrors his own. He circles the tower, finds no entrance, only the sound pouring from above. He returns day after day, hiding in the shadows, listening for hours. One afternoon he witnesses the enchantress's arrival. He hears the call, "Liora, Liora, let down your golden hair." He watches the braid descend, the witch ascend. The secret is revealed. That night, after the witch departs, the prince approaches. Heart pounding, he imitates the voice as closely as he can. "Liora, Liora, let down your golden hair." The braid falls like a golden waterfall. He grips it, soft yet unbreakable, and climbs. Reaching the window, he pulls himself inside. Liora has never seen a man other than faint childhood memories of her father. She scrambles to the far wall, terrified. But the prince speaks softly, kindly. How her song pierced his soul, how he listened for days, how he only wished to meet the voice that moved him so deeply. His gentleness disarms her fear. For the first time, someone looks at her not as a possession, but as a person. They talk for hours, he of the world beyond, she of patterns of sunlight on stone and birdsong. He returns every evening after the witch departs. Their meetings grow passionate. He brings tales of festivals, spiced wine, dancing under chandeliers. She sings only for him now, songs of joy instead of sorrow. In her complete innocence, Liora believes this hidden happiness can last forever. But love has consequences she cannot comprehend. Their nightly trysts leave a mark. Liora becomes pregnant. Her body changes, morning sickness, tightening gowns. In her naivete, she does not understand. One day, as the enchantress climbs up, Liora, distracted by thoughts of the prince's coming visit, blurts out innocently, "Mother, why are you so much heavier to pull up than the young prince? He is here in an instant." Silence crashes like thunder. The enchantress's face contorts from shock to realization to incandescent rage. She understands everything: the nightly visits, the tightened clothes, the betrayal. "You wicked child," she shrieks. "I thought I had hidden you from the world, yet you have deceived me." In fury, she seizes Liora's braids, the very ladder of betrayal, wraps them around her hand, and with gleaming shears, snip, snip. The golden rope falls in a lifeless heap. Liora's beauty and identity shorn away. But the punishment does not end there. With a wave of dark power, the enchantress banishes Liora to a barren wasteland far beyond the forest, a desert of scorching sun, thorns, and endless sand. Pregnant and alone, Liora gives birth to twins, a boy and a girl. She survives on roots and bitter berries, drinks from stagnant pools, shelters under rocks, clutching her infants against the freezing nights. Her life becomes primal struggle and profound misery. Back in the tower, the enchantress fastens the severed braids to the window hook and waits like a spider. That evening, the prince arrives, light-hearted, calling the familiar words. The golden hair descends. He climbs eagerly, expecting Liora's embrace. Instead, the enchantress's hateful face greets him. "Aha," she crows. "You came for your beloved, but the sweet bird no longer sings. The cat has taken her, and will scratch out your eyes too. You will never see Liora again." Grief and despair overwhelm the prince. In that moment, he sees no future without her. He lets go, leaping from the high window. He does not die. Thorny bushes break his fall, but the thorns pierce his eyes, blinding him utterly. He staggers away, a ragged beggar, living on roots and berries, wandering the forest for years, weeping endlessly for his loved love. Fate, patient and cruel, eventually leads the blind prince into the wasteland. One day, Liora, now weathered and worn, tending her children, he hears a familiar voice calling her name. She runs to him, recognizes him despite the ruin. She embraces him, tears falling onto his ruined eyes. In the old magic of tears born of true love, his sight returns. He sees her, sees their children. He takes them back to his kingdom, where they are welcomed with joy. They live long together, surrounded by their children. But do not let this reunion erase the years of torment. The stolen childhood, the suffocating tower, the sheared hair, the desert exile with newborns, the blinded prince wandering in darkness. The tale's true lesson is not that love conquers all. It is that desire, whether for a forbidden plant or forbidden touch, can birth a lifetime of suffering, and that some prices, once paid, leave scars that even happy endings cannot fully heal.
Section 4. The Bonus Tale. Thorne and the Eternal Juniper. And now, for those of you who have walked this far into the shadowed woods with me, we descend one final, hidden path. This is the tale that many collections quietly leave out entirely. And devout merchant and his gentle wife. They loved each other deeply, yet one sorrow haunted their days. Their cradle remained empty year after year. In the courtyard stood an ancient juniper tree, its branches heavy with dark berries, its roots twisting deep into the earth like the fingers of some forgotten god. One bitter winter's day, the wife stood beneath the juniper peeling an apple. The knife slipped. Her finger bled. 3 drops of crimson fell onto the pure white snow at her feet. She gazed at the stark contrast and sighed with sudden, aching hope. Ah, if only I had a child as white as snow and as red as blood. Her wish was heard. Soon after, she gave birth to a son, skin pale as fresh snow, cheeks flushed as bright blood. They named him Thorne. Joy flooded the house, but it was fleeting. In the very hour of his birth, the mother's strength failed. She died with a smile, gazing at her perfect boy. The merchant mourned for a full year. Then, seeking comfort and an heir's mother, he married again. The new wife was comely and clever, but her heart was narrow and cold. She bore him a daughter, little Maris, whom she adored with fierce possessiveness. Yet she came to despise Thorne, the living reminder of the first wife, the one her husband had truly loved. Each day her envy grew like black ivy. She saw the boy's beauty, his gentle nature, the merchant's lingering tenderness toward him, and resentment poisoned her thoughts. The devil himself whispered in her ear, "Remove the obstacle, and all the wealth will fall to Maris alone." She began small, pinching Thorne in hidden places, shoving him into corners,
snapping at him for every imagined fault. The boy lived in constant quiet fear, shrinking from her shadow. One morning, the stepmother unlocked her great iron-bound chest in the hall, the one filled with ripe red apples she had stored for winter. Maris skipped in, bright-eyed. "Mother, may I have an apple?" "Yes, my darling," the woman replied sweetly, lifting the heavy lid. As Maris reached inside, the stepmother's gaze drifted to the doorway. Thorne came running in from the courtyard, cheeks rosy from the cold. Something snapped inside her. The devil's whisper became a roar. With false warmth she cooed. "Come, Thorne, my son. Would you like an apple too?" Trusting, the boy hurried over and leaned into the chest to choose the reddest one. In that instant, crash, the stepmother slammed the massive lid down with all her strength. The iron edge struck his neck. His head severed cleanly and tumbled among the apples, eyes still wide with surprise. Terror seized her. For a moment she stood frozen, staring at the small body slumped over the chest. Then cold calculation took over. How to hide this? She fetched a white linen cloth from her drawer. With steady, horrifying hands, she lifted Thorne's head, placed it back upon his shoulders, and bound the cloth tightly around his neck so no wound showed. She carried the limped form to a chair by the front door, sat it upright, and pressed a bright apple into its lifeless hand. Maris returned, having eaten her own apple. "Mother, Thorne is sitting so strangely by the door. He looks pale and won't speak. He holds an apple, but when I asked for it, he didn't answer. It frightens me." The stepmother's face remained calm. "Go to him again. If he does not answer, box his ears as I've taught you when he's naughty." Maris obeyed. She tugged her brother's sleeve. "Thorne, give me your apple." Silence. She struck his cheek as instructed. The bound head rolled from his shoulders and fell to the floor with a soft thud. Maris screamed, a high, piercing wail of pure horror. She ran to her mother, sobbing uncontrollably. I knocked Thorne's head off." The stepmother knelt, voice steady as stone. "Hush now, child. Be silent. No one must know. What's done cannot be undone. We will make him into black pudding, and no trace will remain." Together, mother guiding her trembling daughter's hands, they carried the small body to the kitchen. The stepmother chopped it with practiced efficiency, placed the pieces in a great pot, and stewed them slowly with sour herbs and spices into a thick, dark pudding. Maris stood by her, weeping without cease. Her tears fell into the pot, so much that no salt was needed. That evening the merchant returned, weary but hungry. He sat at the table. "Where is my son? I thought to see him tonight." The stepmother placed a steaming bowl before him. "He has gone to visit my great-uncle in the country. He will stay some weeks." The merchant nodded, mind already on supper. He tasted the pudding. "Wife, this is extraordinary, the finest dish I've ever eaten. Bring more." He ate and ate, praising every bite, tossing the small bones under the table as he finished. A strange, deep satisfaction filled him, as if he had been nourished body and soul. He did not know he had just consumed his own son. Maris could not eat. She sat in the corner, eyes swollen, watching in silent agony. When the meal ended and the parents retired, Maris cracked back alone. On hands and knees she gathered every bone from under the table, tiny, delicate, unmistakable. Weeping tears that burned like blood, she wrapped them in her finest blue silk handkerchief, tied it gently, and carried the bundle outside. The night was bitter cold, stars sharp overhead. She went to the ancient juniper tree, the same beneath which her brother's true mother had once wished for him. Kneeling in the frozen earth, she dug a shallow grave among the roots with her bare fingers. She laid the silk bundle inside, covered it with soil, and pressed her cheek to the ground. The moment the last earth fell, a crushing weight lifted from her heart. Though tears still flowed, a strange peace settled over her, as if Thorne were somehow safe now. She looked up. The juniper began to stir. Its branches swayed though no wind blew, parting and clapping together like hands in silent applause. From the heart of the tree rose a shimmering mist. Within the mist burned a soft flame, and from that flame flew a magnificent bird, feathers iridescent, voice clear as crystal. It soared high into the night sky, singing a haunting melody that carried across the fields. My mother slaughtered me. My father devoured me. My sister, gentle Maris, gathered my bones so small, bound them in silk so blue, buried them beneath the juniper true. Kill it and chew it, what a beautiful bird am I. The bird flew to the nearest village and perched on a goldsmith's roof. It sang again. The goldsmith, entranced by the beauty and strangeness of the song, rushed outside. "Bird, sing once more." "I sing not twice for nothing," the bird replied. "Give me the golden chain you are crafting and I will sing again." The goldsmith, spellbound, handed over the gleaming chain. The bird sang, took the chain in its beak, and flew onward. And finally, the bird perched on a tall linden tree beside a mill. 20 millers paused their work to listen. When asked to repeat the song, the bird demanded the heavy millstone. The men laughed until the bird slipped its neck through the center hole and lifted the stone as if it were a feather. It sang one last time, then flew homeward with its 3 prizes. At the manor, the merchant sat by the fire, suddenly filled with inexplicable joy. "Ah, I feel light, as if an old friend is near." The stepmother paced, teeth chattering, veins burning with dread she could not name. The bird landed in the juniper and began its song anew. "My mother slaughtered me." The stepmother clapped hands over ears, but the voice thundered inside her skull. The merchant stood. "What a splendid bird, I must see it." "No," she shrieked, "do not go out, the house is aflame." But he stepped outside. The bird dropped the golden chain around his neck. It fit perfectly. Overjoyed, he returned inside. "My father devoured me." Maris heard and ran out, heart leaping. The bird tossed the red shoes to her feet. She slipped them on, suddenly light and happy, and danced back into the house. "My sister, gentle Maris." The stepmother's terror became unbearable. Hair bristled like flames. "I must go outside, perhaps the air will calm me." She crossed the threshold. Crash! The bird released the massive millstone. It fell directly onto her head, crushing her instantly into dust and smoke. When the haze cleared, Thorne stood there, whole, alive, cheeks flushed, eyes bright. He took his father's hand and Maris's hand. The 3 of them, sorrow finally lifted, walked back into the house together, sat at the table, and ate their supper in peace. The juniper tree stood silent once more, its branches still, guarding the secret beneath its roots. And so our journey through these ancient, unforgiving tales draws to its close. We have seen beauty paid for in blood, vanity answered with fire, desire punished by exile and blindness, and innocence betrayed by those closest to it. These were never meant to send children gently to sleep. They were forged in a harsher age to teach hard truths, that the world is full of sharp edges, that weakness invites ruin, that cruelty returns upon the cruel, and that even love can carry a terrible cost. The nursery versions we cherish, bright colors, cheerful songs, neat resolutions, are beautiful lies we tell ourselves because our world, for many of us, has grown safer. We no longer need nightly reminders that famine, plague, or a stranger's malice could end everything tomorrow. Yet something vital is lost when we scrub away the blood. We lose the raw power of these stories, their unflinching honesty, their respect for the darkness that still lurks in every human heart. We leave these tales in the deep woods where we found them, waiting, patient, for any who dare to listen. Thank you for walking this shadowed path with me tonight. May your dreams be kinder than the stories we've shared, but may you carry their warnings all the same. Sleep well, dear listeners. Until next time.
We have walked far tonight, deeper into the forest than most dare to go. The lantern light has grown dim, the path behind us swallowed by shadow. Before we turn back toward the warmth of the present, let us pause here at the edge of the clearing and look once more at the grim procession we have witnessed. 4 tales, 4 mirrors held up to the human soul, each one cracked, each one stained. In Elara, we saw the quiet, grinding cruelty that can bloom behind the closed doors of respectable homes. We watched a mother command her own daughters to mutilate themselves for the promise of power, and we felt the cold satisfaction of doves pecking out the eyes of the wicked. A reminder that cruelty is a debt, and in the old world, that debt was collected with interest, in flesh, in blood, in sight itself. In Seraphine, we descended into the abyss of narcissistic madness, a queen who did not merely wish her rival dead, but devoured her organs in a grotesque ritual, believing beauty could be ingested like food. 3 cunning attempts on a child's life, each more intimate than the last, and justice served not with a kiss, but with red-hot iron slippers, forcing the murderer to dance until her body gave out in flames and screams. A warning that vanity, left unchecked, becomes a devouring monster, and that retribution can be as merciless as the crime. In Liora, we followed the long, heartbreaking ripple of a single reckless act. A craving for forbidden greens led to a stolen child, years of suffocating isolation, a passionate but doomed love, an unintended pregnancy revealed by the most innocent words, and punishments brutal beyond imagining. Hair shorn, exiled to a barren wasteland with newborn twins, a prince blinded by his own despair. Even their final reunion, tears restoring sight, cannot erase the decades of suffering. The tale whispers that desire, no matter how natural, can carry a price far heavier than we ever expect to pay. And finally, in Thorne, we face the darkest mirror of all, a stepmother's envy curdling into sudden, unthinkable violence, a child beheaded over a chest of apples, his own father unknowingly feasting on his flesh,
a little sister gathering the bones in tear-soaked silk and burying them beneath the juniper that once heard her true mother's wish. Then the transformation, spirit into bird, vengeance delivered through gifts of gold, shoes, and a crushing millstone, resurrection only after the guilty are reduced to dust. This tale offers no comfort, only the chilling truth that betrayal by those who should protect us cuts deepest, and that even the dead may find a voice to demand justice. These stories were never meant to lull children into sweet dreams. They were forged by dying fires in drafty huts, in villages where half the children did not live to adulthood, where famine stalked every bad harvest, where fever or a stranger's malice could end a life in hours. The people who first told them were not entertaining, they were educating, distilling centuries of hard-won wisdom into unforgettable images of horror. They taught that envy is not a petty flaw but a murderous force capable of cannibalism and torture. They taught that passion without foresight can condemn generations to misery. They taught that cruelty returns upon the cruel, often with horrifying precision. They taught that innocence is fragile, trust dangerous, and the world beyond the hearth full of wolves in human form. The darkness was deliberate, fear was the teacher. These tales were inoculations, small doses of terror meant to build resistance against the far greater terrors waiting outside. We have softened them because our lives, for the most part, no longer demand such brutal vigilance. Medicine, law, abundance, these have pushed many of the old monsters farther into the shadows. We keep the princesses, the castles, the talking animals, the triumphant weddings, but we scrub away the blood, the mutilation, the cannibalism, the slow, grinding despair. We turn survival manuals into harmless fantasies. And perhaps that is as it should be for a safer age. Yet something precious is lost in the washing. We lose the raw, electric power of the originals, their unflinching honesty, their refusal to look away from the abyss inside every human heart. We lose the profound respect they showed for darkness and the quiet strength they offered those who had to live alongside it every day. Tonight we have stepped back into that older, harsher world. We have felt the chill of its wind, seen the glint of its blades, heard the screams that echo long after the tale ends. Carry these stories with you as you leave the woods, not to frighten you in your sleep, but to remind you that light is only precious because darkness exists, that kindness matters because cruelty is always possible, that love, even when it triumphs, often walks a long and painful road to get there. The lantern is nearly out, the path back to the present is just ahead. Thank you for daring to walk this far with me. Thank you for keeping the old fires burning a little longer, for listening to voices that have been whispering warnings across centuries. May the tales we've shared tonight settle gently, perhaps not into sweet dreams, but into a deeper awareness when you wake. Sleep well, dear travelers. And if you ever hear a bird singing a strange, sad song beneath a juniper tree, listen closely. Good night.